one of my favorite formations in the game is actually the 4-3-1-2. And if you were on one of my streams, you might have been invited to a challenge. Yes, how well can you do with Leicester City playing just the 4-3-1-2? How far can you get in that season? Today, I'm going to share with you my results. We all basically started at the same time. I made this save available to all of you. We had one friendly match against Monaco to play, and then we've got the whole season, right? And as far as the tactic was concerned, I even put out a 4-3-1-2 for you guys with opposition instructions already placed. Now, naturally, it's up to you whether you wanted to use the opposition instructions and if you wanted to stick to the tactic itself. I mean, we have to play the 4-3-1-2, but whether you opted to keep these team instructions or maybe even change some of the PIs and the tactic, that was entirely up to you. You could have even gone in there to change the roles. Entirely up to you too. As long as the goal was to play the 4-3-1-2 without changing the formation itself. So let's take a look at the tactic very quickly and I'll explain all the play instructions and why they're there. If you look at the roles and duties, it's pretty straightforward. We've got two advanced forwards. We've got a playmaker. We've got a ball-winning midfielder and a box-to-box midfielder flanking a central midfielder on defense. We've got two wing-backs, one on support, one on attack, and we've got two ball-playing defenders. Why did I opt for a ball-winning midfielder? I like ball-winning midfielders because they tend to be quite aggressive and they're trying to win the ball. They're very, very strong. And in a 4-3-1-2, I've also got stop crosses. You'll typically see the side midfielders helping the wing-back, trying to win the ball down the flanks or making it harder for opposition sides to, beeline down and try and deliver a cross. In terms of play instructions, we went with take fewer risks, Mark Taita on this wing-back because we expect him to bomb down the pitch. We've got a ball-playing defender with no PIs. Here we've got a ball-playing defender with dribble more because we want him to break through a few tiers along the way. The wing-back on the left was only told to Mark Taita. The ball-winning midfielder was told to Mark Taita along with the box-to-box midfielder. The CM on defense had no play instructions. Now the AP in front, pass it shorter, roam, move into channels and close down more. The two advanced forwards, both of them have interesting play instructions. Now, I'm using pass into space as a team instruction. Ideally, I want a lot of players playing these balls into these kind of spaces here. We also want both the strikers to consistently try and beat the offside trap. Now, this can happen if you ask players to take more risks and even dribble more. Even if they have the ball at their feet, I want them to beat players as well and go make a beeline and because they're going to be in the box most of the time. They'll be very dangerous players and we need players here with very good acceleration, agility, anticipation, and concentration. You'll typically see these kind of players try and break the offside trap. The thing here is, naturally, there'll be more instances of your team trying to break the offside trap as well. The sweeper keeper has no special instructions. And here, it's important to bear this in mind. I've gone with focus play down the left and the right. This will encourage the side midfielders to move towards the area of focus so that as your team brings the ball down the flank, there will always be players around. And we've gone with an advanced forward because he also has the play instruction, move into channels, hard-coded, is already active for this role. What this actually means is that if the wingback decides to play a pass down the line, the advanced forward could go wide to receive the ball. Now, if you notice, I've already put in the set pieces. Now, generally, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got these three zones marked by players who've got good jumping reach and anticipation. So you want them to be able to handle this, defend these areas. I typically put my best jumping reach here. You also want one mark tall and one player mark and two edge of area, or one edge of area and one staying forward. I mean, this is entirely up to you. You can actually put all of them back as well if you so desire. In terms of attack, all the three routines are inside here. Right? Typically, you guys have been asking me for these routines. I've got one short, I've got one far post, and I've got one near post. I left it on mix. I really don't care where the ball goes, to be honest with you. And they have been set up. The opposition instructions are here. I'll explain them very quickly. Now, in terms of an opposition instruction, we've got trigger press on the goalkeeper. We've got fullbacks who are playing on the right side will be shown to their left foot. Why? Because you want them to always play the ball inside and not use the flank so much. Then we've got central midfielders all being hard tackled. Then we've got the 3 central defenders in any kind of a central defense, 3-man defense. We're always going to trigger the press on them. And then when we're looking at central defenders, weaker foot as well. And wing backs, these are typically in back 3 systems, right? Sometimes if you might find a 5-2-1-2, then I want the wing back to be shown down the flanks. Now, a lot of this will depend. I mean, honestly, if you're playing a 5-2-3 with wide players, then I'll actually show them inside so I can tackle them so they don't get the ball down the flanks. Now, I left this in there for you, but, typically what I normally do is I don't change OIs. I'm kind of lazy that way. Then we've got hard tackling here. Now, I don't like the DM in a 4-1-3-2 or a 4-3-3 because if they can receive the ball, they can recycle possession, they can move it out wide. So what I typically try and do is I try and put pressure on those DMs so that they're not easy passing receivers. So what we will try and do is make sure that these players are tackle hard and tight, forcing the defense to look for somebody else to pass the ball to. Out wide, the wingers have been told to cross the ball, and then strikers have been shown weaker foot. So the conditions were very simple. The rules of this challenge were pretty simple. You have to use the formation. The rules of this challenge were simple. You have to use the formation 4-3-1-2. However, if you want to change the roles, duties, you want to change the PIs, you want to change the OIs, that's entirely up to you. The other thing that we had as a rule was simple. You're only allowed 2 transfers, right? Into the club or out of the club. You can't have any more than that. So you're not allowed to go out there and sub the entire team. You had to, as far as possible, use the players at your disposal. So for those of you who took part in the challenge, of course, there was a thread open on our Discord for you to share your thoughts. I shared my thoughts, what happened in some of these games and some of the tactical changes I had to make. At the end of the day, we didn't do too badly. We managed to qualify for the Champions League, Leicester finishing 3rd. We found it pretty tough. The thing about our season, the biggest challenge in Football Manager 23 is actually avoiding injuries. Because we got off to a good start and then lost Madison to an injury. Then we lost Castagna to an injury. Then we lost Christensen to injury. By the time I got to this phase, 3 of our players were out. And the thing about this tactic, and I've quickly found that out, was the way we played it. In fact, we did really well against a lot of teams. The key here wasn't anything else but a proper substitution strategy. So for a lot of the games, I was subbing the same players, or rather the same positions. I would always sub the 2 fullbacks and the 2 side midfielders. By the 60th minute, there will be fresh legs on the pitch. And those fresh legs turned around a lot of matches because we started scoring a lot of goals after the 60th minute. And some of the goals that we scored typically were pass into space kind of goals, right? You would see a lot of goals where we would have seekers sending the ball out and they would get behind the lines. The strikers would attack the defensive lines, get behind them. They'd be scoring so many goals. Dhaka was on fire. At one point, I was struggling with injuries and I had to think about resting Dhaka too. He could have easily scored 40 goals for us this season, but injuries. The fear of injury got me worried. So at the end of the day, our strikers did score quite a few goals. We did concede a couple of goals. And I was thinking to myself, in terms of performances by our goalkeepers, Iverson didn't do so badly. I mean, his save ratio was close to about 79%, which isn't that bad. Expected goals prevented about 7. So it's okay. I mean, I thought he did okay for us. I mean, having a different goalkeeper probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, even though his attributes seem to suggest he's not that good. But he turned in a decent performance. I thought that one of the best players for the ball-winning midfielder position was Amate. Now, he is very good. Whenever I played him in this position, he delivered for us. Castagna was a very important, influential player when he was available, and he played well. Tielemans could only play like 15 minutes before he got tired, so he's a good player. But the key player in this whole system was actually Madison. Now, Madison played really well for the better part of the whole season. He had 10 assists, he scored 9 goals, and he was the main creative influence for us. And he stepped up. But when he got injured, we had a problem. The 9 games he missed in the league coincided with the worst run we had. So I was kind of disappointed that Madison wasn't available for the whole season. So your biggest challenge when you're using a 4-3-1-2 is always going to be players. You need a player here who's got very good balance, agility, passing, decision, first touch of the ball. He's got to be able to link up play. Now, in front, the two advanced forwards, they're going to have to be fast. Acceleration is going to be important. Agility, balance, anticipation, and concentration as well. Now, if you want strikers to consistently beat the offside trap, those attributes are going to be important. These players can break away, score you some goals. And, Patson Daka is brilliant for this kind of a position because he is a natural advanced forward and he plays really well. In terms of the wing backs, this is going to be your most expensive position, meaning you're going to have to be thinking of substituting them all the time because you can't play with these two wing backs for 90 minutes. They will get tired. So what you need to do is you need to consistently have a pair of wing backs for each position, and you got to make sure that they're good enough to play in that position. And I think that Leicester City can play the 4-3-1-2 very well because they have the players for this and they have enough players to handle this kind of a system. In terms of strategy, apart from when I play Liverpool or Man City, I would use pass into space for all home matches. Now, away from home, I would not use this automatically. I would start without pass into space and judge the situation, because the danger of a pass into space is you can end up giving the ball back to the opposition. When that happens, you struggle to create chances sometimes because the ball keeps coming back. The only time I had pass into space active, irrespective of the opposition, was when I played against the 4-4-2 diamond. Because there's so much space in a 4-4-2 diamond, pass into space was just something I would use automatically. And against the 4-4-2 diamond, this role would go on attacking duty as well. In terms of the kind of players you need, I would never ever play players here who were poor at tackling or had poor work rate, poor anticipation, poor concentration. We need players here to have work rate, anticipation, concentration, some bravery, determination, the willingness to go and tackle players, because they're going to have to support these two wingbacks all the time. And they do that in the game of Football Manager. Looking at how this tactic is done, I probably would use this formation with quite a lot of teams. It's a lot of fun. I love the 4-3-1-2. But moving forward, we are definitely going to be playing with other formations, and the next stream challenge will happen very, very soon. I'm curious to know what kind of teams are you looking at and what kind of formations should we be playing with. And let me know in the comments below if you want a specific team being featured. And if you want to take part in the stream challenge, why not? Show up at one of our streams and I will issue the next stream challenge this Wednesday. If you want to download this tactic, I'm sure you'll find it in the folder. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you have any questions, you guys know where to find me. Meanwhile, stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.